Today we're talking commercial heavy duty vehicles safety when it comes to this category. But let me tell you, our guest today is going to open your eyes to a world of possibilities, especially through Rostra products by VOXX. Our specialist is Joe Caltabiano, and he'll be joining us today. Guys, this is going to be a great one for you looking to expand on your business and again, capitalize on a category you might just be sleeping on. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Rostra. And it starts now. And welcome back to the show. Joining us now is our good friend Joe Caltabiano. He's in charge of, well, a lot of things over at VOXX, but more specifically, we're talking Rostra today. Welcome to the show, Joe.
How you doing, Ben? Great to be on.
Listen, yeah, I always love having you on. We have such great dialogue when it comes to trying to get our dealer base to optimize their sales situations, bottom line, and try to open their eyes to sometimes opportunities that they just might not be paying attention to. And I feel like, Joe, you represent a lot of these categories. And one of the categories we're going to be talking about today more specifically is a brand that you have in your portfolio called Rostra. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Rostra is all about, just to give our listeners an understanding?
Sure. Well, many of your listeners and certainly people in the industry probably remember that name going way back. Started with cruise controls.
Right.
I certainly remember when I was an installer installing Rostra aftermarket cruise controls. But the Rostra brand, which we acquired back during the COVID era, it's a lot more than just cruise controls. It's expanded to camera solutions, sensor solutions, seating upgrades to add heating seated, power lumbar support. A lot of the different categories that are in there, inclusive of probably the most recent, which is speed limiters, and a very important one. This is all segmented towards the commercial fleet entities.
So
Right? A speed limiter could be a little bit different. That could cross over into concerns about your teenage drivers.
Sure,
But
sure,
really,
absolutely.
these products are designed, developed to handle rugged environments of the environment and the applications that they're going to be installed
And
on.
that's what I wanted dealers and listeners to understand is, there are certain products made for certain purposes. And when it comes to roster products, we are talking more robust, more heavy duty stuff that's going to last on these type of vehicles that they're being installed on. When you look at, and again, Joe, you touched on all different categories, but I'll just take one example, like parking sensors, for example, or blind spot sensors. There, if you type in blind spot sensors, there's a lot of options that come up. But are they suitable for a rugged, heavy-duty truck scenario? That's what we want to really dive into. So I guess where I want to start this conversation, Joe, is now that we understand who Rostra is, let's talk about the perception of this category from a dealer standpoint. We're talking to 12-volt retailers, right? The traditional car
Absolutely.
stereo, remote starter. Of course, these are huge portions of their business. But are they sleeping at the switch when it comes to opportunities in commercial type install? And how does that correlate? Is this stuff they can install easily because they already have the skill set? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I don't think it's about sleeping at the switch. I think it's just opening the eyes to more opportunities, right? Look, drive around your local community. You have a plumber, a contractor, a landscaping truck, right? Then you see all the Amazon trucks around. And then you see buses driving around. How do you want to attack the animal, so to speak? You might be getting business right now where someone with a fleet vehicle or just their own business vehicle brings it in for a backup camera or a backup sensor
Or
or
an
a
alarm
DVR
system.
sensor
An
or
alarm system.
Mira, most importantly,
Oh,
because
right.
once you start doing it, where does it start? If you're a dealer, where do you go first? Well, if you're a dealer that also does expedited car dealing work, then you probably have already gone to a Chevy dealer or a Ford dealer where you've seen some of these larger car dealerships have a commercial side of their business.
Mm-hmm.
The bed comes off the vehicle. They put a utility bed in and racking systems. And now it becomes a plumber's truck or a contractor's truck or whatever it may be. Well, now you ripped off the bed, that tailgate camera, that's gone. You need a replacement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have something that's blocking all of your vision. You need a replacement mirror, right? So it's really, how do you want to attack that animal? That's first step. Then it's approaching your local entities, your municipalities, right? Not everybody's going to sink their teeth into Amazon. You're not going to get that business. You could certainly go hunt for it, right? Not telling you not to.
Mm-hmm.
But, your local utility company.
I think what you're identifying here is low hanging fruit. Like this is stuff that every dealer has in their vicinity, right?
Absolutely.
And
Go
and,
down
and
to your local municipality. Look, just like in our world, go down to your local police department, right? Who's doing your upfits? Are you doing it all in house? In some experience, they'll send those vehicles off to some upfitter that does
sure,
the work. But in
sure.
some, they're adding stuff on locally, right? But again, you can go out and reach out in different ways, or you can start Googling and approaching the bigger entities within your geographic location. Maybe, you know, not just let's say a school district, but the bus company that services that
Right,
school
right, right,
district.
right,
If you
right.
know that that bus company is in your geographic location, and maybe they're producing buses all over the country for all you know. But if they buy you, why not reach out?
I love the idea of that. Yes, does it take a little bit of a proactive approach? Of course it does, but you're a business person. You have a business to run. You want to chase down new leads, new opportunities. I think what Joe is outlining here is maybe stuff that you just haven't thought about, or maybe you thought about it but haven't acted on it. Well, I'll tell you, what we're talking about there are products that make you succeed in these avenues, right? Um, One of the things I want to ask you is when it comes to the install, I've talked to a lot of dealers and they're like, "Oh, we're not equipped to do those type of installs." Let's demystify this for a second. Like when we're talking about the installs of these, camera systems or sensor systems, or we're going to get into the speed limiter systems, what level of technician do we need to get these accomplished at a professional level?
It doesn't require any additional skill set. If you're already touching a vehicle, know how to rip apart a vehicle and how to add stuff to a vehicle, our solutions don't complicate that. It's the same thing as if you're installing an alarm system, if you're
Mm-hmm.
installing a video system, whatever you may be. And when it comes to the more, let's just say, vehicle specific, like a speed limiter,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is stuff that is going to, in most cases, essentially be plug and play, right? Tying into the vehicle's electronic system, a pedal harness that regulates the actual threshold.
So you just confirmed something. There are harnesses involved that are kind of pre-terminated, and
Comes to the kit.
oh, they're like
When
T harnessing, basically. That's
Yeah,
you know
when
what I
you
mean.
get when you get to the speed limiter, talking about speed limiters, or you go to Rostra.com, you see that under speed limiters, just like cruise controls, it's drop down menus, right? Like we did with video and the headrest systems. Year, make, and model tells you exactly what you need. And then to your point, to put it in, no additional.
Okay, so if you're tuning in, just stop thinking that this is a category that you're going to hire a whole new team, need new training for, need new equipment for. This is stuff that you're already capable of putting in. And Rostra has made it extremely simple with what Joe's referring to. Rostra.com, drop down menu, year, make, model, application, T harnessing, all those things that we love about the products. They already exist. So now let's dive in a little bit deeper. You talked about fleet, you talked about municipalities, bus manufacturers, maybe some government services. These are all avenues. I mean, really, if you think about it, just look on the road, how many commercial trucks there are on the road. I mean, there are a lot. And if you're not the shop in your town, in your region, taking care of those vehicles when it comes to safety solutions, well, guess what, Joe? Somebody else is. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom
Absolutely.
line. All right, let's dive in. You said something that kind of triggered me, and I'm like, why does Joe want to spend time talking about a speed limiter? I mean, it sounds pretty mundane, but according to you, this has kind of come full circle these days. So let's talk about that a little bit. What's the deal with speed limiters, and why should dealers be paying attention to that particular category?
So what's a speed limit? It's just what it says. Limit speed, right? So pretend it's a cruise control, but a cruise control where the actual driver could set the speed that they want the vehicle to run at. A speed limiter is limiting the maximum speed that vehicle will ever
Sure.
drive at, right? So whether you want to protect your teenage drivers from getting a little aggressive
Mm-hmm.
and getting into an accident, right? Or you want to protect your investment as a fleet owner, or again, small fleet or large fleet, right? Anywhere from efficiencies in cost savings by not excessively speeding.
You're talking about gas.
Yeah, reducing
Mm.
the risk of accidents by not aggressively speeding, right? There's a lot of efficiencies overall that these fleet entities can gain from a speed limiter.
But What about another one that I just thought of as you're saying that? I mean, if you have a fleet, let's say whether you have 5 vehicles or 50 vehicles, if you're limiting the speed, you're getting less wear and tear on the vehicles as well, aren't you? At the end of the day.
Absolutely, over the long term, right? If you have a regulated speed at 75 for your fleet, right, in your geographic area, well, now you know that your customers or your driver's not going to be going 85, 90,
Mm-hmm.
right, to catch to the next, destination. So brakes, tires, overall wear and tear, over the
And also
long term,
downtime. If those vehicles have to go in the shop, you're down a
maintenance,
vehicle.
maintenance, excessive wear means maintenance, right?
And I'm sitting here listening to you, and it's like, sure, cruise controls. Many vehicles come with cruise controls these days, but I've never heard of a vehicle come with a factory speed limiter.
Well, no, but it's becoming more popular because,
Is it?
again, I
Oh,
mean, if you think about just there's the dealer opportunity and then there's the big opportunities, right? Think about the Walmarts and the Amazons of the world, all these, big, cross country
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
vehicles, right? They got to reduce their liability, they got to reduce their risk, their fuel cost, their everything, right? But it all trickles down to the local level as well. So, and then you have to think about other things that not everybody is aware of. If you're not following this category or in the know on this category, there's legislation being passed in states. Everybody's in well knows Intoxilock, right? As a brand. What do? They regulate a vehicle from even operating if the driver is blown over the limit
Right,
from an alcohol
right,
standpoint.
right.
Well, there's legislation being passed to also, for repeat offenders, regulate their speed. So we're starting to see activity at the state level already passed in some states. And you know what happens when they start adopting it in one state, it rolls over into other states, right? So now think about the opportunity for the dealer in our world, our independent dealer level, to be able to install what we call an intelligent speed assist device, basically a smart speed limiter.
Now, so
Not that we have one yet,
right,
but we are certainly working on these type of
it's headed
things
that way.
because we always look years out. Where is this business going to be?
So when you say speed limiter, just to round out this conversation, do you have to get a different unit for different speed, or is it adjustable? How does that work?
It's going to come programmed. So again,
Okay.
drop down list, year, make, and model. It's going to spit out whatever you're looking for. And then what it is, it's think of one system with different threshold speed limits, right? So we have part number 250 dash blah, 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 blah dash XX. The
Mhm.
XX at the end is going to be 65, 70, 75,
Okay,
80.
so you have to predetermine what the max speed you want for that vehicle, order it for that model,
Correct.
that speed. Okay,
So
fair enough.
once you get to the application level, you're going to pick the speed. It's going to ship to you. There's nothing to do at that point.
All right, so here we are with Joe Caltabiano. We're talking with him from VOXX. More specifically, we're talking Rostra products. After the break, we're going to come back and really dive in and kind of finish off this conversation if you're a dealer that might be interested by what we're talking about. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, Paul with SiriusXM here, and with 3 easy steps, you can maximize your business. Number 1, make sure you have the current promotional material up. Understand the offer, make sure your team knows it. 2, have a unit on display. Set the presets to different genres so you can recommend and play the music that your customer listens to. And number 3, think about this. Most vehicles you're replacing the head unit with already has a SiriusXM tuner in it. So adding it just requires an antenna adapter, a SiriusXM tuner. It's a 30-second install and you're done. So there it is, guys. 3 easy steps to maximize every sale this season with SiriusXM.
And welcome back. Before the break, Joe and I were talking about speed limiters because that's a thing now, and rightfully so, and really easy to install. You just got to notify and be aware that this product is available and zone in on the customers that are in your area that are already coming to your shop potentially, that this is something that they should be interested in. Now, let's diversify the conversation a little bit further. We're talking commercial safety solutions. So under Rostra, what other categories do you guys offer?
Well, we offer replacement mirrors. We have parking and cross traffic and all kinds of sensor solutions. We have seating upgrade solutions. You're doing long hauls in fleet vehicles. You want lumbar support or a seat heater during cold environments in Canada, where you are. So,
Hey, northern U.S. too, man. Come on.
our northern brothers.
Yeah.
Cruise control, speed limiters. I mean, this and obviously DVR camera solutions, right? So, like you said, there's multiple types of fleet type of vehicles. Anybody's out there seen a Napa High vehicle going down the
Sure.
road, or a Penske truck, or a Sprinter van. So we have to have rugged solutions, commercial grade, to handle the environment, to handle the diverse applications that we put upon. Because a lot of these vehicles, they don't have that solution from the factory.
Do you know what I like? First, I like what you just said there. A lot of these vehicles come bare bones. A lot of them don't even have radios in them, right? I mean, it depends on what configuration the customer chose. But you're right. The opportunity to start with, let's say, I think the speed limiter is a great entry. It's a great gateway into outfitting the entire vehicle. Hey, by the way, your next step, you should come back. Maybe we should get your safety up with some parking sensors or some cross traffic. I know that Rostra actually has one that's pretty unique. It's a 3-in-1. So you get your blind spot, your parking, and your cross traffic in one sensor. Imagine that. Super simple to use. But I think what I like about the speed limiter is that it's kind of like a gateway piece to everything else that you could do to that customer's vehicle. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, or vice versa, right? You never know what the customer's going to walk in the door with or for. Right? It's all identifying it. If you're not proactively going after the business, where then you have a portfolio to say, hey, here's the solutions available, it's what rolls up in the front parking lot, right? He came in looking for a mirror. Hey, you want a mirror? Like, I could do this. I could save you fuel savings costs. And who's driving this vehicle all day? You have someone else driving it, or are you driving it? You worried about their
So
speed?
this is interesting. Let's talk about the type of questions that you want to ask a customer. So the guy comes in for the first time, whether it's for a parking sensor or a camera or whatever. Let's do a little role play here. Like, how should the dealer be engaging that customer to kind of go down the path of properly outfitting that vehicle?
Again, quantify it at the vehicle level. Then once you do that, you start asking the right questions and showing them the product. Right? Again, it's like anything that we sell in our industry. If you have a solution available and you show it and you have a theme behind it of why, what is this for? Sometimes you don't know who's walking through the door. Maybe that guy came in for his personal SUV and wanted to get a stereo upgrade. But you know what? He's got 4 trucks out on the road.
Right.
Right? And now he says, oh, I needed one of these. Oh, you have one of these? Don't send him off searching online for this kind of stuff. You can make the profit selling it. And there's good profit in selling commercial, rugged solutions.
Especially the fact that these are not quote unquote complicated installs that's going to bog down your bay either, right?
Correct.
These are pretty straightforward.
It's just another layer of your business.
So outside of the speed limiters, we talked about sensors. Is there another product category that maybe we should just bring to light that people might not be aware of or haven't been thinking about?
Well, obviously DVR replacement mirrors or DVR mirrors or just full view display mirrors, right? When you got blacked out windows, if there's even windows on
right, a lot of times you can't even see out the back of these vehicles.
You got to replace the mirror, right? You need full display mirror, puts the camera in the back. You get a full image of what's going on in the back. Backup cameras, DVR solutions. You're worried about liability risks, right? Just like we're doing well in the traditional aftermarket ADAS category with our dash cams. Well, DVR mirrors that have the DVR functionality built in or multiple camera solutions. Again, you're attacking the animal by going after the customer to say, hey, we're going to save you money. We're going to reduce your risks. Wait, what are you saying? I'm adding a lot of revenue without having to add new installers with other skill sets. It's just another widget to put in another vehicle that's designed for those type of vehicles. So camera solutions is one. Obviously, we talked about parking sensors. We talked about backup sensors. We talk about cross traffic sensors or the all-in-one system, right? Gives you the best of everything. So last thing you need is your plumbing truck is backing up and you hit something, whether it's a individual or something that's going to damage the vehicle. Sensors are always a benefit in anything.
I love the idea of that. Just, a lot of these vehicles do house calls in neighborhoods. What if there's a kid rolling a small bike across? These are real world situations. And if
Yeah.
you tell these stories, everybody will identify with that, right? I mean, that's just common knowledge and common sense. Once again, we're here with Joe Caltabiano from VOXX. More specifically, we're talking about Rostra products. We're going to wrap it up right here, Joe. Final message that you have for dealers to take a closer look at Rostra right now. What do you have to say to them?
Just making more money, right? Look, in our world, we know that, categories mature. And if we always stick to the same way of doing business, attacking the animal the same way and just getting into the same categories of products, this is taking similar products and new products that you're not selling today and offering them into a whole nother market segment that you haven't been paying attention to. And like anything in a segment, that's not saying that's non-competitive. There are other products out there, but we've been doing it a long time with an established name and a brand following. And by now offering those product solutions, we're talking good margins. We're not talking about your everyday skinny margins to compete against the guy down the block with another brand. So we help you with the product solutions. We can help guide you with where to go. But like we talked about, this is not a closed market. It's available. It's just initiative, marketing yourself to the right entity. And we back it with our own tech department. I mean, I have 2 dedicated tech individuals that have been with Rostra since its foundings, way before we acquired them.
Mm-hmm.
There's tribal knowledge that goes back so deep that you get jammed up with any of our products, you call that lifeline, they'll walk you right out of any situation.
Beautiful. Well, there you go. Guys, for more information, make sure you check out the website, rostra.com. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today on Connected. Hey, hopefully you want to find out more about ADAS products, but listen, thanks for tuning in for CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.